A New York Knicks legend has called out Karl Anthony Towns during the recent struggles that the team has been having. We got to break it all down. What's up, guys? I'm Matt Long. Welcome to Knicks Basketball 365. If you're a New York Knicks fan, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out a ton. But let's jump right into the news for today. It is no mistake that the New York Knicks are in a bad way right now. 2-8 over the last 10 games, lost something like 11 of the last 17, maybe even be worse than that. It's really bad right now, and the guy getting the most heat for all of it is Karl Anthony Towns. That may be deserved, maybe it's not deserved, but Carmelo Anthony went on his podcast 7 p.m. in Brooklyn and had this to say about the New York Knicks big man. Carmelo said, "I'm watching the identity of this team. Who's doing what? Mismatches. Not taking advantage of mismatches. Miscommunication on defensive cues. When it comes to Cat shot an air ball in the fourth the other day, and I yelled at him. It's okay. Leave it alone. On to the next one." And Cat looked back and said, I got you, OG. Hey, so there's more that Melo said that we're going to talk about, but let's set the scene so far. Karl Anthony Towns, I'm not positive, but I'm pretty darn sure Melo is talking about the air ball versus the Phoenix Suns on Saturday night. Cat shoots the air ball. Melo goes, "Yo, it's all good. Get the next one." And Karl Anthony Towns turns around and acknowledges Carmelo Anthony, meaning I heard it. I'll follow your instructions. So the point is Melo wanted Karl Anthony Towns to hear this. And Karl Anthony Towns was being courteous and responding. Let's hear the next thing that Carmelo Anthony said, which is kind of head scratching. "But for him to shoot that air ball and for him to acknowledge what I said in the moment, you're thinking about that. You cannot think like that throughout the course of the game when you're playing basketball, because now you're worrying about what people are saying about you." He's thinking all type of things through the course of the game. I'm sorry. Wasn't the point of him to hear you? This doesn't make any sense to me. I know what Carmelo Anthony is trying to say. He's saying Cat should be locked in on the game the whole time. But you are a Knicks legend. People respect you. If you don't want him responding to you, why are you talking to him? It's not like he stopped and had a full conversation with you while the game was playing. If Cat actually got distracted during a play or something, talking to a fan, which Melo is somewhat in this situation. He's just a fan who got tickets to the game. He just happens to be a fantastic Knicks player and a New York Knicks legend. If Cat is getting distracted, that's one thing. But you are an NBA legend talking to him, and all he did was respond to you and just be courteous. I cannot understand why Carmelo Anthony. It feels like he's playing both sides here, because this just doesn't make any sense. I know people don't like the way Karl Anthony Towns plays stylistically, where he doesn't play defense, where he picks up too many fouls. They don't like the contract, which he's getting paid more than $53 million per year. Yes, the contract's bad. Karl Anthony Towns isn't playing well. The stats are bad as well. I mean, people don't like what we're getting out of him. 21 points per game, 11.6 rebounds per game, 3 assists per game, 0.9 steals per game, 0.7 blocks per game. The stats, not the worst thing in the world, but I mean, it's not good enough for what we need out of Karl Anthony Towns. When you are a pure offensive player, we want to see more points than 21 points per game. This is just, not a situation that anyone wants to be in, and especially not where, and you don't want to hear any Knicks legend calling out any of the players, even if, I believe Carmelo Anthony is wrong for saying this about Karl Anthony Towns, because while Melo is correct that Karl should not be listening to the outside noise, Carmelo Anthony isn't just normal outside noise. When there's a legend talking to you like that, you acknowledge them. As long as it doesn't mess up the actual game, you acknowledge them. So I think it's honestly correct what Karl Anthony Towns did, and I think it's ridiculous that Carmelo Anthony is calling him out for it. But that's not where it ends, as Tracy McGrady was also on this podcast with Carmelo Anthony saying the identity is gone. Last year, they had an identity. Tom Thibodeau was all about defense. It was structured around the defense. We didn't see Cat out of position like he is in these last 8 to 10 games. We didn't see Brunson getting blown by. The scheme that Tibbs had for this team fit the personnel that they had, and I think they got away from that. Now, while I disagreed with Carmelo Anthony, Tracy McGrady is absolutely spot on with what he's saying here. The Knicks have been significantly worse this year defensively, and a lot of it is schematically. We know that Tom Thibodeau was a defensive head coach. Mike Brown was an offensive head coach. So it's not surprising that the defense got worse this season. The question was, can Tom Thibodeau actually win a championship for you? Leon Rose and the rest of the decision makers for the New York Knicks decided that answer was no. So they decided to move on from him. And unfortunately, we have seen the New York Knicks defensive rating has worsened a couple points this year. They currently rank 18th in defensive rating this season. So bottom half of the league with a defensive rating of 116.8. The way defensive rating works, it is the points you allow per 100 possessions. So you are looking for that to be a lower number. So the fact that it is higher than the last two seasons is a worse stat. So of course, watching the games, it is clear and obvious that the defense is worse this year. We know that the scheme is not as good as it was last year. The plan last year was high Jalen Brunson on defense, which is what we should be doing because he's a fantastic offensive player, but being only 6'2", he's always going to be limited on defense. There's only so much that Jalen Brunson is going to be able to do. So Mike Brown is also getting some of the heat here, which he deserves to get some of the heat that he's getting because the offense has not been good enough. And when you are an offensive head coach, and even if it's something as simple as shots not falling, you are still going to get blamed by the media and the fans. People are going to be looking at you. They're going to be calling you out, especially when we are less than a year removed from watching pretty much the exact same roster play significantly better with Tom Thibodeau, a coach that was so good that the front office decided to let him go. So this has to get better. Karl Anthony Towns. Yes, Carmelo Anthony is right when he says he's got to block out the outside noise, but when a legend of the game is talking to you on the court, just one response really ain't the end of the world, Melo. I mean, what, you trying to bait him into a response so you can go call him out on the podcast? I know that's not what you're trying to do, but that's what it feels like you did. That's absolutely what it feels like just happened. I mean, you hate to see it. The thing is, everyone is frustrated with the way the season is going right now. I have faith that it will turn around to some degree. Is this team a championship team? Likely not. They got to figure out what's going on defensively and figure out a way to be more consistent on offense. But it isn't all on the coach. Some of this stuff is just the team is a little bit in a slump. It is clear that the extra games and the extra travel wore on the team after the midseason tournament. We got the in-season tournament championship, and then it felt like things started falling apart directly after that. It felt like we had a game every single night, and every single night I'm like, can these guys get some rest? Of course they can't have a game every single night because that's impossible, but it felt like that, and it felt bad. We got to get this thing turned around, and it starts with better coaching defensively. Karl Anthony Towns, if a legend of the game says something to you, I don't blame you for saying something back, even if some people may. But that's what I got for this video. If you stuck around this long, I appreciate you taking the time to watch the video all the way through. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and go Knicks.